When this gaming table from the 1800s came up on Marketplace for $2, we jumped on it. It is amazing. Yes, it has horrendous damage. It has a big crack through the top. The old veneer is bubbled and lifting, and the legs are full of borer damage. But it transforms. And look at that old marquetry. Way too cool to pass up. We wanted to keep this table for ourselves. My husband loves a game of poker. So to start with, we took it to pieces to begin the restoring process, and very gently I started to strip the old finish from the top, making sure I didn't create any extra damage. It was really important to me to preserve the table as well as I could, not trying to cover the wear and tear, the life, the stories of this table. It had lived for over 150 years already. This was about retaining the beauty and honouring the old workmanship, knowing I couldn't make it look perfect. So after examining and experimenting, I realised I couldn't close the gap in the top. The wood had completely shifted over the years, so I filled in the underside that would be covered with felt, and on top we routed out a clean strip, and then with a bit of help from my dad we cut a piece of rimu to lay in the gap. An obvious repair, but a pretty one. I'm glad we chose rimu. I think it fits really well with the rest of the table. Then by injecting glue into every bubble and a little help from my iron, I was able to get the top flat again, plus a couple of small veneer repairs on the sides. Then it was time to strip these legs. What a mission. It was really important to get the old finisher off completely so that we could treat it for borer, which we did using a permethrin product, and we doused it really well. So fingers crossed we got all those beetles. That was a shitty job. So it looked like there was something missing from the bottom of the legs there, a finial of sorts, perhaps. And I had an old ashtray that belonged to my grandeur, who was a greenkeeper for a bowling club. And since this was a piece of furniture for the family, we decided to clean this up and use it in this space. I think it's just perfect. I then went in with a stain in an English walnut colour. On top of that, I gave it an all-over oiling to nourish the wood, and then when that had soaked in and dried, I gave the whole piece a few coats of glossy polyurethane. I'm usually a satin finish kind of gal, but the gloss really suited this piece. So I was considering filling the old borer holes, but I soon realised that would take me 20 years. The legs were still strong, and we didn't want to paint them for sure. So we decided to leave the holes there, another part of the life story of our games table. So final step, replacing the felt. Exciting, we're nearly finished, but scary because we'd come so far I didn't want to botch it now. But it all went smoothly, using an adhesive spray and making sure to protect all the woodwork. The cutting was the scariest, but we got there in the end, carefully and slowly. Let me know if you've got any questions about the way that I did anything, or if you've got any improvements I could have made. Then it was time to screw it all back together. I made sure to mark my hinges and everything, so that all went really smoothly. And there it is. So just a reminder of where we started. It was really dry, bubbling, cracked, worn out. And here it is now. Shiny, nice smooth top. Not perfect, but ready to live for many more years, I hope. And the transforming does work smoothly. I was just doing that with one hand while trying to hold the phone. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the outcome. I hope you enjoyed watching the makeover. Have an awesome day.